Greetings, my friends, and welcome back to more Drak vlogs for BlizzCon 2016. We're almost there. We have 2 more games to cover, and the next one that we're going to be covering is Overwatch, and frankly, the biggest announcement that they had at BlizzCon. So, for people who missed it, I actually hosted a live stream to showcase the opening ceremony. It didn't work out so well. I was having a lot of issues when the opening ceremony began, plus I wasn't able to stream it like I had been the last year. I tried to do it on Twitch. It didn't really work out, mainly because the lag was just creating more issues for my hardware than anything else. So I had to, unfortunately, forego it. But I found it interesting that before the opening ceremony had begun, I literally had somebody in my chat that verbatim, literally word for word, explained, in theory, how this would go down, and how the Sombra announcement would go down. And he, step by step, he said it was going to be a legacy video from Blizzard, and all of a sudden we were going to see distortions, and it was Sombra hacking the video. And on top of that, it wasn't just going to be an announcement, it was going to be an animated short for Sombra. And, literally, it was kind of freaky. It happened word for word. I went back, and thankfully I had the chat still up and running when the opening ceremony was going on, and I went back and it was like, holy crap. Enough so that I actually questioned, did I actually have a Blizzard employee in my chat? Because that was freaky. So obviously that's the biggest announcement from Overwatch. Sombra, the hacker, that I believe has actually started up her own new role, the Opportunist. I might be wrong about that. It's like some people are saying that it is a role. Some people are saying it's just something along with her advertisements. I'm not sure. But here's what we do know. She is a hacker. She has a machine pistol. But most of her abilities, she's actually encouraged to remain stealthy and to remain using her hacker-based abilities. She does have the machine pistol just in case things get hairy, but really the game is encouraging you to remain in stealth, to hack your enemies, and to basically play a debuffer. Your goal with your team is to assist them by debuffing and hacking your enemies. So at that point, we have a couple of basic abilities that she can use. Obviously, the basic hack. She has access to an EMP, which I believe is her ultimate. Originally, I thought the ultimate was like she instantly hacks everybody, but now I'm not 100% certain because some sites are actually saying yes, that's the ultimate. Others are saying it's the EMP that does it. So I have no idea at this point. But she does have access to an EMP, which is supposed to mess up everybody. She also has access to... oh, crap. I can't even... so she has the stealth. She has EMP. She has hack. She has her machine pistol. And then she also has translocate, I think is what they call it. Basically, it's a teleport to get yourself out of dodge. A lot of people including Jeff Kaplan, made the mistake of it's just like Tracer's Blink. It's not. It's made so that you can get out of a hairy situation really fast. Now, her hack isn't just limited to enemy players. She's also able to hack turrets from Torbjorn, the health packs on the stage, so that they literally don't work for you. So I have a feeling that Sombra is going to be very deadly once people start to truly master her, and is going to be an essential part of some of the pro teams, as long as they're willing to use her. The backstory of Sombra was probably even more interesting as we have more knowledge being told about the world. So people might remember we got the animated short Hero a while back, and we got to see a little bit of how Mexico is in a post-Omnic Crisis world. Sombra goes further into that and shows the Omnic Crisis really hurt Mexico. It hurt their infrastructure, it hurt their government, it hurt everything. And it also spawned a generation of kids that were hooked to the internet kind of thing. And in some cases, some of those became hackers, one of which was a young Sombra. And Sombra just kept hacking. She realized she came to the realization during childhood that humans were just as easy to manipulate as computers. So this, she basically gained that hacker mentality and applied it to everything in life and wanted answers for everything. She wanted to know who the real power brokers were in the world. But through her building arrogance as a hacker, she got found out and therefore had to basically delete her entire identity to be able to save herself so that nobody would come looking for her. Through doing so, she also was part of the gang. I think it was De Las Muertes. It was, again, going back to the Hero animated short, the same people who had like the death masks and neon in their face. It's that very same gang. She was part of them. And in turn, when she got found out, she actually basically integrated hacker tech into her body. So she isn't even the girl she was before. She's now just Sombra, which I love the premise of it. I love the fact that she's basically 100% embraced technology at this point. There's no trace of her previous identity at all because she has not only did she have to, she chose to get rid of that previous identity. And now, the other part that I love about her is that as much as she is associated with organizations like Talon, and I think at one point maybe she would have been associated with Overwatch, she's still through those running her own agenda, as shown in the animated short. She goes to Volskaya Industries with Widowmaker and Reaper and screws them, all to basically play blackmail for what I'm guessing is the CEO of Volskaya Industries. So at that point, it's like, you are willing to screw some of the best assassins in the world to find the information that you want, to get the questions answered that you want answered. That already puts you on a whole different level and makes you so interesting as a character. And that's pretty much the information that we got on Sombra. I know that Sombra, as of right now, is officially on the PTR. Because if you guys haven't checked it out, Geek News did a bonus episode Monday night where me and Brenton Volley, along with his boyfriend Nathan, who were actually at BlizzCon and tried Sombra, gave kind of their impressions of what Sombra is going to be like as far as gameplay, as well as being able to see kind of the story details that weren't really shown on those panels. The other thing that needs to be mentioned with the Overwatch announcements is the introduction of the arcade. And the arcade is basically a bunch of brand new modes that we can access, and a lot of which are very interesting. I wish I had all the information for them, but unfortunately it was also kind of hard to keep track of, so I'll do as best as I can. But I am interested in every stinking one of these modes, because nothing against quick play. Sometimes you want to shake things up. First of all, there's going to be a one-on-one mystery duel where basically you get to, or you don't get to pick the hero. You guys will be the same hero, and you will go into a bout of 5 matches, or best of 5 kind of match. And it right now only has one map that it works on, and that's one of the new maps, Eco Station Antarctica, which is the not birthplace, but the place where May emerged into this new world. So that's where May was living for many, many, many years before she went into cryostasis and came out in this world. In this world, I think it was like 10, 20 years later. So at that point, it's a very different world for May. And now we get to see like where she was living and what she was doing before then. And right now, only 2 modes work in this one, but they're hoping to bring quick play and I think some of the bigger match things you can access in the arcade into Eco Station Antarctica. And it looks great. It looks awesome as far as I'm concerned. So you have 1v1. You also have a 3v3, which works along the same lines, except you get to pick the heroes, and there's only 1 hero per. So you can, I believe it's only restricted to the team, but it might be restricted overall in the match. So as soon as a person is picked, you can't use them. So at that point, just to make sure that, you don't have stacking of Sombras or Tracers or anything like that, that you can have the proper combinations. So at that point, that's also an interesting mode to me. And again, it's best of 5. And it's also going to be at the Eco Station Antarctica. I believe they did say that either the 1-on-1 and 3v3 were going to have specific maps, or they were eventually going to integrate the other maps that we have already to be able to do them. And they're just going to be like subsections of the map. The other one was being able to add in new versions of the matches that we can already do, which are 6v6. Being able to restrict it so that you cannot have hero switches during the match. Being able to have no limits whatsoever on it, because I believe quick play is going to be affected by all of this stuff in the fact that we might actually be restricted to maybe one switch per. They weren't really clear on that, at least as far as I was concerned, but the games that I'm used to playing where you can do multiple switches, I think it's going to get restricted to 1 or 2 switches, and then you're done. You can't switch to another character at that point, and they actually are going to put in a mode where there is no limit. You can switch however many times you want. However, there's also a best of 5 6v6 where you can set the rules yourself. And you can say only one switch, or you can say no switches, or no specific hero. So I love the fact that they're adding in tons of new customization to the matches, just to throw something new into it. Because nothing against quick play. I love quick play, but if you always are willing to throw something new and unique into it, I want to try the 1v1. I mean, I want to try the 3v3 because I like having smaller battlegrounds, at least to me. So I'm already excited about that. I think it's going to be an awesome payout. In fact, one of the things I found interesting was as soon as they announced it, you had people asking if esports were going to integrate 1v1 and 3v3. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, we already have, I think the WoW Arena teams are still 1v1, 3v3, and 5v5. I might be wrong about that. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to see that same thing in Overwatch? And that leads into the other major announcement for Overwatch, which I've gotten some details for, but not a lot of it confirmed, which is the announcement of the Overwatch League, which is basically Blizzard creating a league for Overwatch for esports and allowing for teams to be able to get sponsorships, et cetera, or players' teams to be able to get sponsorships so that they can feature into Overwatch tournaments, all of that. And I think a lot of that stuff is in its early stages, but it's a big announcement, especially since Blizzard is, like, as much as people don't want to admit it, Blizzard is kind of a dominant force in the esports scene. Already at BlizzCon, you have Hearthstone tournaments, you have WoW tournaments, you have StarCraft tournaments. The only game that doesn't have a tournament is Diablo right now. Everything else has a tournament. So at that point, it only makes sense for them to take Overwatch and actually try to run their own esports out of it. So overall, with the announcements that have been made with Overwatch, I'm amazed. I'm a little disappointed that we only got one hero announcement, but I'm okay with it because this hero is awesome. The backstory is already interesting. I'm a little bummed that I'm probably not going to get an additional animated short for Sombra, but that doesn't bar her from actually showing up in others. So, there's potential there. And I also have a feeling there will be tons of Easter eggs throughout the new areas, including one I forgot to mention, which was Oasis, based in the Middle East. The only reason I didn't mention it is because it's very much in development, and we don't know a whole lot. We know what they want to do with the map, but right now it looks really, really good. It looks like Dubai kind of thing, and I'm excited to see where it goes, but even they had to admit the stuff they were showing was very much concept art. So with that, back to my opinions on the announcement, Sombra is awesome. Especially from what I've been able to hear about her. I'm not in the PTR, so I can't guarantee any of this stuff. The new modes is amazing. This is exactly what I kind of wanted. Nothing against 6v6, but sometimes it's chaos, especially if you're playing quick play. I don't think I'll ever be like a ranked player in Overwatch, so I will always be doing these casual quick plays. And I like the fact that occasionally, like, if I want to step outside that, I can. And I can go off and do a 1v1 duel and get even better with the characters that I want to main. I think there's tremendous potential for them being part of the Overwatch League. And I look forward to seeing what the Overwatch League becomes and the teams that we start seeing shape it. But I've already talked for like 15 minutes, so that's going to go ahead and do it for this video. Obviously, I'm very excited for what Overwatch has in store. I actually dug out my PS4 disc just to play brand new matches, as well as reinstalled it on my PC. So I think the future right now is very bright for Overwatch, and I look forward to not only the new character announcements, but also the new modes that could be coming in the future. With that, though, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and of course, the next video and final one for BlizzCon is going to, because the podcast was basically my wrap-up, the final video is going to be on the last game that needs to be covered, Heroes of the Storm. We'll see you guys next time.